I want you to imagine you are visiting a fortune teller. You may not do that, but we're visiting a fortune teller because you want to learn about your future. And the fortune teller looks in her crystal ball and says, I've got good news, I got bad news. Which do you want first? So you think about it and you say, I'll tell you what, give me the bad news first, so at least that way I've got the good news to follow. She looks back at the crystal ball, looks up at you and says, you will be poor and unhappy for the next 5 years. And you say, okay, I can deal with that. What happens then? You're expecting something good. She says, the good news is you'll get used to it. Now, two things about that story. You're not going to find the future of your business at a fortune teller's. And two, when you get used to it, it's time to change. Because you cannot, in business, you cannot afford to get used to anything. You cannot expect anything to remain the same or anything to be as it always has been. Because change is the nature of the business world. As a matter of fact, if you're giving your customers today the same as what you gave them yesterday, you're giving them less, and they know it. Customers' expectations today are constantly growing thanks to what your competitors are doing. They're constantly improving their products, offering new things, and making customers get used to the idea, they can get used to it, of new things all the time. If you look at the fastest growing companies, they're meeting, anticipating, and even creating customer expectations. They're deep into innovation. They're constantly reinventing themselves, reinventing their products, their services, and very important, their business models. Don't forget that one. I find that when it comes to innovation, there's a lot of things that large companies and small companies have in common. First of all, they don't do enough of it, which they should because it's essential to their survival. Secondly, their innovations, so to speak, are really minor improvements on existing products. And third, they don't know where to start. And of course, how would you know how to start or where to start on something you haven't even thought of yet? So these are things that you need to know. Another tendency is they tend to think too small. You really need to think big. Further, companies rely a lot on technology. Well, I'll tell you what, technology is only as good as the quality of its application. Another is they're scared to death of failure. And because they're scared to death of failure, they fall into the pattern of waiting for perfection. And perfection is the enemy of invention. Don't go that way. Coming up, innovation is the hottest avenue to successful business growth today. And coming up with great ideas isn't easy. And it's even harder to make them work and create great business products out of them. I have some tips that I share with my clients that I would like to share with you. First of all, create a culture of innovation. What does that mean? You want to share a vision that motivates people, that gives them a sense of direction. Remember what John F. Kennedy said when he pronounced that famous phrase that galvanized the nation. He said, "We will place a man on the moon by the end of this decade and bring him home safely." That totally changed the space race. Further, if you want to really create a culture of innovation, you've got to get everybody involved. Rally your people, get them together. They need to be involved. Don't let them out. Don't leave them aside. And make it fun. You know, companies tend to make things drudgery, sheer drudgery. People want fun. People love to let their imaginations run wild. Does that mean you have to apply everything they say? Of course not. But you know what? A little craziness is good for the soul and is much better even for innovation. Develop an easy to understand and apply process. People need structure. Innovation needs structure. They got to know what the beginning and the end looks like. And most importantly, develop a sense of urgency among your people and yourself. You've got to have deadlines. Beware of the 95% there syndrome. What is that? You go to the technical people and you ask them, is the product ready for commercialization? And they'll almost always say, we're 95% there. You know what? They never get beyond that 95%. You tell them, give me a sample. I'll take it to Finkelstein and Gruber down the block. I just invented that name. And I'll ask them, try it, you'll like it, and we'll get some feedback on it. It says, oh, no, the technicals will say, no, you can't do that. We can't let a product go out in that condition. Just wait, we'll have it. We're almost there. We're 95% there. That other 5% rarely ever happens, and if it does, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Further, get to a prototype as soon as you can. Don't worry about it not being perfect. The reason for that is you've got to put something in the hands of your customers that they can feel and touch and understand, and so they can give you feedback on your product. Without feedback, you're dead in the market. And finally, celebrate progress and reward the people that contribute to it.